Welcome to the only place where real, raw, and vulnerable conversations happen with IFBB bikini pros to give you an inside look at their struggles, strategies, mindset, passions, and all of life beyond the stage. This podcast is made to inspire, motivate, and remind competitors and the average gym goer that even the most extreme lifestyles and elite athletes have their ups and downs. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm your host, Celeste Rains-Turk, and now it's time for the Confessions of a Bikini Pro podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode. So excited because today we're talking to someone who I have been in touch with for a while now, and I'm so happy we're finally doing this episode. Just going to be awesome. So we're talking to obviously an IFBB bikini pro who's earned her pro card at the USA Nationals in 2018. And she started her online fitness and nutrition coaching business as well recently after previously working full-time as an engineer in the corporate world. She coaches full-time and enjoys a long off season right now, which includes things like traveling, running her business, and spending lots of time with her husband and fur babies. And we're going to be diving into a lot of that. So welcome to the show, Kerrin Phillips. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited to have you here and dive into some of your journey with you and get some good golden nuggets for everybody listening. But before that, I have to ask, what's one thing you do or think about or a ritual you have right before your heel hits the stage?
So right before my heel hits the stage, I just think it's go time. It's time to perform, and it's time to just get out there and give them something that they'll remember.
That's awesome. I love it. So when you think about something that they will remember, is that so that you set yourself apart, or how do you think that that's helped you in your time stepping on stage thus far?
Well, I think stepping on stage, it's easy to have nerves. So what I try to do is channel that into excitement and get excited about being on stage and just going out there and performing. I mean, I feel like when you're sitting and watching a bodybuilding show, you want to be entertained, right? Like you want to see great physiques, you want to see good posing. So that's essentially what I try to bring. And it's hard to bring that if you're nervous. So I just try to channel all my energy into being positive and excited and ready to just go rock the stage.
That's cool. So you actually competed in 6 national shows before you turned pro. So at those 6 national shows, you placed top 5 in every single one. So what kept you going and kept you motivated to really win your pro card?
Oh my gosh. It's funny thinking back that it was 6 national shows, but it was. Um,
That's so
so,
cool.
I think looking back, there were definitely times where I was like, dang it, like I wish I'd gotten it this show, or like, why wasn't it my turn, or whatever. But then looking back in retrospect at the journey, every national show was very special to me. Obviously, like I wish maybe I'd turned pro a little bit sooner and I could have done a few more pro shows before ending my season last year. But I think every single one of those national shows is like has a special place in my heart, and I learned everything, not everything, but I learned something from every one of them. So I think just what kept me going was that I loved the sport, and I just felt like I was so close every time, and just really trying to focus on just enjoying that journey. Because I think there were times, where, and everybody has times with this competing, where it's like, why am I doing this? Like, this is a lot of work, doesn't really pay. It's not, people say like their competing career, and I'm used to having a career where you like something that you make money, not spend a bunch of it. So I just think about the fact that I love the sport, and it's a labor of love, and you're going to be doing it anyway if it's a lifestyle. So it's not like, I did 4 national shows last year before winning my pro card. It's not like within 2 weeks between, say, like junior nationals and universe, I wouldn't have really changed my lifestyle at all. So I might as well have just done the show in my mind.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a great point. I think that's actually really motivating for a lot of people listening. It's like considering the fact that you're not going to change much between and your lifestyle anyway, between now and even 3 months from now, you might as well keep going. And obviously, there's something I do want to talk to you about though, with now that you've transitioned into a longer off season. And some girls will feel burnt out after competing so much. And I'm wondering, what are your goals right now with taking this longer off season?
Yeah, so this is the longest off season I've ever taken since I started competing. So it's a little bit weird. um, but I think what's keeping me going and keeping me motivated is really just like channeling my energy into different goals than prep or stepping on stage. So lately I've been really focused on my lifts in the gym and increasing the weights I'm able to lift. So I've got my squat up to 215, which I'm really happy with, and I want more. And I've been improving things like, my presses and just having a lot of fun in the gym. I lift mostly with my husband now, so it's kind of like
Oh.
our time together. And yeah, so I'm really enjoying that, and I'm excited to get into some other things as well. So like I'm doing a little bit more yoga lately, and just having fun with the fitness side of it. The diet, I mean, it's kind of like I said, lifestyle. I try to keep things so that I'm not feeling like really full or bigger than I'd like. But I'm definitely not trying to get shredded or anything like that. So just staying consistent with that and having fun with it.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah.
Have you noticed a difference like mentally since shifting into your mindset being more about enjoying that fitness aspect of things?
Oh, totally. I mean, it's definitely a struggle sometimes, I would say, seeing your body change so much because are so lean for those shows. And like, I'm not naturally a very lean person. Well, no one's naturally as lean
Yeah.
as you are for stage, but um, it's something that I feel like I have to kind of like keep things a little bit more in check, so that I'm not feeling like a balloon or whatever in my off season. But I definitely feel like I've struggled a little bit like with post show, just I mean, I was hungry. I was in prep for like 32 weeks. And my first show was after 20 weeks. So then I kept going for another 12 so I did my pro debut 2 weeks after I got my pro card, which was my goal. But it was work. I mean, I got off stage and I was like, I don't know if I'll ever step on stage again. And then you do the back and forth like, oh, but I love it. And then you're like, oh, but I love food. So yeah, I've definitely had to like, just kind of like own the way I'm feeling, but like continue on regardless and just do what I know deep down is right for me. And that's just taking a little break this year. So break from the stage, that is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember something you said in a post was that, sustainable changes take more time. And this is something I fully believe in too, really. And if you can't sustain what you commit to, then I personally think it's worth taking more time to get there, or it's worth it to take more time while following a plan that you can commit to. So, what were some of the things about prep that you felt you maybe couldn't continue for a while longer, as you were finding a new pattern with a year off of competing? So what I mean by that is like, what inspired you to take an off season or take time away from the stage, that maybe you couldn't have sustained from prep?
Yeah, well, one of the things was definitely just wanting time to grow a little bit more. So um, I just have so much fun lifting. That's really for me kind of like where it all started. And I really loved the physique, like the bikini physiques that I saw. And I was like, oh, like I would love to look like that, like, or see what it takes to look like that. So that kind of like started my journey. And then I realized that that's like a very temporary physique for the stage. So what I'm trying to do now, and which my husband has already achieved, which I'm kind of jealous of, but he stopped competing about 2 years ago,
Hmm.
actually 3 years ago. And he was like shredded for his shows. We competed together actually. And then he brought his diet back up, you know, did a reverse, kind of brought it back down a little bit for summer, did that like for a few years, nothing extreme. And now he's sitting like practically at his stage weight, like looking so good, but like eating way more food.
Mm.
And so I ideally like I'd love to get to that place where I feel like I don't have to get down to like a low, you know, low macros or anything like that to be able to just like feel like I look really good and really fit and am strong still and just like feeling, you know, awesome. And of course, like anytime you're dieting, like you're going to be a little hungry, but I mean, I was definitely at a place where like I did not, you know, I was really hungry by the end of
Mhm.
last season, and I did not want to sit there any longer. So, just like I think taking that time to kind of like reverse slowly out of those things, you know, your body is going to respond the way it's going to respond to kind of balance out. You know, it's not always for sure. Like everyone's different how you're going to respond, but then like being able to kind of like bring it back in, but be able to like add in more food and kind of just get your metabolism up and moving a little bit more. I think is the goal for me anyway, and that's
That
going to
makes
take a
sense.
while. Yeah, I feel like my body is. It took like literally 6 months for me to just really feel like I was back to a good place. Just with not feeling hungry, being able to like sleep really well, and not feeling like, you know, there is a certain amount of body dysmorphia I think that you can get from just like being so shredded for so long.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, so I think just kind of like getting over all of that and just, I don't really like talk about that stuff a lot because I think sometimes it makes it worse to talk about it.
Mhm.
But just kind of like getting your mind in a right, you know, the right place to kind of just keep moving forward with your goals, long term goals. That is.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I like how you looked beyond like the physique, right? And you looked at, okay, well, what's going to make me feel good, sleep better, have my health, be able to eat more while feeling strong, not feeling overly hungry, but actually maintaining that level of conditioning or something close to it. And I think that what you said about how it took you 6 months to just feel better after going through all those shows and getting to that point, that's something huge that I think a lot of girls will I don't want to say like to hear, but maybe relate to hearing, which is that
Mhm.
it's okay to take that time. I personally can attest to that too. Like it's been now over 6 months since I last stepped on stage, and I'm feeling like, okay, I'm just in the swing of things now. Like I'm in my lifestyle, I have everything sorted out. I still want to compete, but just now I'm more comfortable with the time. You know, it's okay to take the time. But like you said, when you're in like prep mode, you just like keep going because you always feel that much closer. And then at one point it hits you like, if I keep going, I'm going to do more damage than good.
Exactly. I mean, they say, you know, I don't really know who says this, but I've heard this
They say
before.
this though. I
Yes,
love that.
they say. But you know, you should take as much time off that you did, you know, dieting or in a prep, just to make sure that your body is in a good place, if not more time. And it's not like, go eat everything you can in that amount of time, but it's just like getting your body back to just feeling good at maintenance calories, whatever that may be for you. Everybody's body kind of adapts and changes over time. So you've got to kind of, be in tune with that and just do what feels comfortable for you. And I think that's the key. I think we're always thinking everything's so time sensitive, or, oh, well, I have to do this now, but like the stage will always be there. I mean, they're even adding new divisions now, It's like things
It's
are always going to
growing.
be available for you when you're ready. So.
Absolutely. And even if it's not, like, this is something else, right? Even if the stage isn't there, why does it matter? Like,
Exactly.
this is your
Yeah.
lifestyle anyway, right? So sometimes I like to, at least with the clients that I work with, because I don't coach people to get on stage, but I help people in the mindset aspect of things and in the relationship with food and their body and their goals and all that. And one of the things with the goals is we focus so much on the stage and the show, and then we think, well, it's always going to be there, right? But what else? Like, why else is it important to
Mhm.
follow a healthy lifestyle, to feel good about the actions we're taking for our body, and also the shape that we're looking to achieve? Because it's okay to want to change our shape, but it's like, why is that actually important to us beyond stepping on stage and maybe getting a certain amount of placings or points or qualifying for whatever it might be? It's like, why does this all really matter? And so I just think it's cool that what you said about taking as much time off as you did to prep, it makes sense, but so many of us get consumed by that feeling of urgency, like if we don't continue we're going to lose everything. And I think that kind of goes to like the scarcity mindset of, oh, I've worked so hard, I don't want to lose it all. But what you're doing is you're taking the time to build something much better, so next time it doesn't have to be so, I guess, demanding on your body.
Yeah, or if it does end up where it does get demanding again, it's like we still have that time off to recover from
Yeah.
the first time.
Exactly. Like, okay, well, I had so much time off, it's fine, I can push through this. Like, this is a moment in a very long life. Like, that's the other thing, right? Like, we have such a long life, like 3 weeks of pain and hunger, or in your case, maybe almost half a year. It's in the grand scheme of things, is it that much? I mean, not really, unless we let it completely destroy us and take a toll on our bodies and not take responsibility for it.
Totally. And that was another reason I just took time off too, was we went on a bunch of travel. So my husband and I, we went up to the San Juans for a week. We went to Peru for a few weeks. We went to Mexico and Hawaii. And so like during that time, I wasn't, you can't really prep during that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can definitely, be intuitive about what you're eating and just, not go ham on all the food or anything. But, it's just like one of those things where why stress about, making sure like everything's perfect. Because in prep, I use flexible dieting, which I love flexible dieting, but I'm on point every single day. Like I won't even like, take nibbles of things or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely wanted that time to just kind of be like a little bit more free and just like feel good about being able to go out and like, just have dinner with the fam and, enjoy a glass of wine with my husband or, stuff like that.
Yeah, and
So,
finding like your happy balance and your place.
totally.
So I was going to ask you about that actually. What kind of programming or regimen do you commit to, if any, when you're traveling? Like, what were some of the things? Because you mentioned intuitive eating and not, obviously not going into full on prep mode because you want to be able to enjoy certain things. But do you follow any type of like, I guess, standards for yourself or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely got to that point with just living a lifestyle where I kind of know what my boundaries are. So like, I'm not someone who likes to go just eat a bunch of food and just like stuff my face and feel super full. I'm definitely someone that I like to eat, fairly clean year round, whether I'm in prep or not, because it just makes me feel good. And so, what we'll do when we travel, because my husband is kind of the same way in that, where we both just live that lifestyle is, we'll make sure when we travel, we bring like all our vitamins and everything. And then we'll usually bring a few meals with us. I love the 6-pack bags. Like those things are amazing. And we will pack meals. I have a meal prep company that I use local. It's called Alpha Meals. And it's just great. Like we'll order food, we'll like bring some with us. If we're going on like a big international trip, we'll usually just pack things like beef jerky, those Optimum Nutrition protein almonds are so good. we'll usually pack like some bars or just, things to get like protein in, because I feel like that's where I tend to lack when we go out and we go traveling and stuff. Because, as an athlete, like we tend to like a little bit more protein than the normal person. So just pack things like that to keep us satiated while we're on the road and stuff. And then make sure we get our workouts in while we're traveling. I mean, I love being active. And if I can't find a gym, like I'll go on a walk. Make sure we bring our water bottles so we're getting, lots of fluids, especially on the flight. And I just really try to just still maintain that fitness lifestyle while we're traveling, but not go overboard with it. Like I'm not I'm gonna try like dessert.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna like enjoy a beer or something like that. But just having fun with it. It's like I don't want to go on vacation and come back and feel like I feel like shit, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
So
know you enjoyed yourself there, but not come back feeling like you let who you really are go, and now you have to like reprove it or regain it back.
totally, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm actually doing more traveling this summer, and I was like, one of the things I always think about is like the food, right? I'm gonna have to pack all my food. I'm gonna have to prep it all, which is not a big deal because I don't really trust anybody with my nutrition. I'm like super weird about it. But at the same time, like if I go out to eat, like I'll either order something healthy or I'll get something and then something else that I like really want to try or enjoy or take, like share something or nibble on something or maybe have like a full thing. But it's like it comes down to, again, like what you said, like how do you want to feel, right? Like what do you really want to get from
Totally.
this and what will you get from it?
Exactly. We were just in Hawaii and we were ordering like poke and like sushi burritos and things like that. And the waiter was like, "You guys eat so healthy." And I was like thinking how it was like so not like our normal chicken and rice. And I'm like,
Yeah.
how do people think we're healthy?
I know, I love that. That is so funny. Or you order something that's like, and if you do that around people who know how you are, they'll be like, wow, you're really like treating yourself today. And you're like, oh yeah, I am. Like, you know it. But like other people, they're like, they see what is a treat to us as still like not too bad.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, okay, you're also coaching other girls to get to the stage now, right? So, what's
Yes.
something that you wish more? And this is kind of like one of those questions where since I don't coach people to get to the stage, I'm not sure how you'll be able to answer it, but I'd love to hear from your perspective as a coach, because I know like anytime you're running a business or launching a business, we have to think about what sets us apart, right, from other people. So what do you feel that
Mhm.
you're doing in the industry you're bringing to the table that's different or that you wish other coaches were doing more of?
Oh, good question. So I like to talk strategy with my girls. So I think it's important that I understand what their goals are, first of all. So a lot of people, I've worked with a lot of first time competitors, So like a lot of people will just want to step on stage, like they just want to know what that's like, or they have it as like a kind of like a weight loss goal, but it's like, I mean, I'll never have someone prep for stage 4 weight loss, but like they'll come to me wanting to lose weight, and then it will be like, oh, and then now that we've lost like 15 pounds, like I'd love to do a show kind of thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I like to talk strategy because I have some other girls that they've been competing for a few years. They're nationally qualified and they want to do national shows and they want to get their pro card. So I think it's just fun, like working with just that difference in, you know, what the goals are and like how we're going to get there, and just different stages of the journey together. Because like last year, what I loved about my coach, I worked with Shane Hughley in my 2018 prep, and he was like all about strategy. So it was like, okay, we started off the year with Junior USA Nationals because we really thought we could win it.
Mm-hmm.
But then it was like, well, if, you know, obviously there's a lot of things you can't control when you show up to a show. So it was like, okay, in the chance that I don't win my pro card there, we have the whole year.
Yeah.
And you also have, you know, 3 national shows after that, pretty much back to back, or within a month of each other, that you could potentially do. So that's what I kind of try to bring to my girls, like the ones that are competing. I also have a lot of lifestyle clients. So, you know, working with them on whatever their goals are, whether that's building muscle, you know, losing fat, or both. Just I think bringing that strategy to it, not just giving people, you know, a plan of like what you did, but like really trying to work
Mm-hmm.
with them on what their goals are and their schedule. And, you know, competing, like we talked about before, it can cost quite a bit of money, flying out, you know, hotel, suit, stand, entry fee, card, all that stuff. So it's like being really clear up front about all of that, and then making sure that they've got a timeline that works for them and their body and their health. And yeah, and being really clear about the reverse diet too afterwards,
Mm-hmm.
because I think some people don't always plan like time for that, or they've got like a million things planned after their show. And it's like, you know, you really got to take that seriously too, or you're just going to end up in a worse place than where you started, you know?
I love that. Such a great point about being upfront with the the costs, I guess you could say the investments required for competing, being prepared for a reverse diet, taking into account if they have plans after the show. I just think that's awesome. And I know that you mentioned you did a prep with your husband. So what was that like to prep with him, and also for him to then go on and see you win your pro card?
Yeah, so I actually get really emotional when I think about it.
Oh.
I was I was just at the Pacific Coast Championships, which is an Oregon show, last weekend, and I received my ISBB Pro plaque there, which Ron and Susan Smith, who are the chairs of the NPC for Oregon, they basically put that together for the athletes there. So it was crazy going with my husband, because that was actually the first show that we were ever at together,
Oh,
and
wow.
I didn't even know him. So
Oh my
uh,
gosh.
yeah, so he ended up taking second in his men's physique class at that show, and I ended up getting my first place. It was my second show ever back in 2015. And then the next year, so then we actually met through Posing Perfection, which is like a posing clinic put on here in the Northwest that um, I was interested in, and I saw that like he went, and I ended up going. We met there, and so then we met. We like went on a few dates. We were basically inseparable, and then we started a prep together for 2016 Emerald Cup, which is a pretty big show in the Northwest. And it was actually probably the most amazing prep of my entire life. Um,
Wow.
yeah, you know, so we ended up getting engaged in the middle of it. So
Oh
that's
my
probably
gosh,
part
must
of
have
the
been
reason
really good.
why. Yeah, it went really well. um, no, so it was just amazing. I think for me, being able to just have someone who was a lifting partner like him, because um, my husband, he's just like really knowledgeable and he really cares. And I never gone to the gym and just like worked out with people like that before. So it was just really awesome, like having him there to like spot me and push me and like really just, kind of be like that support. And it just obviously like it went really well and we really clicked, and we ended up doing that show together and I ended up winning my class. So that was kind of
Wow.
like, yeah, that was a big kind of like, I guess, fuel to the fire for just wanting to go on to nationals. And I don't, I knew I wasn't ready that year. I wanted to take some time and really build up. So we ended up doing a prep for nationals the next year in 2017. But it was just really, really special doing that show together. And he actually ended competing after that. I don't think it was because of
Oh,
me.
really?
But no, he just, he took a little break. And then I started doing all my shows the next year, and he just went with me to all of them and was like so supportive. And we just had fun together. And like in 2018, because I did 2 national shows in 17 before we got married. And we got married, I want to say like 6 weeks after USA,
Oh, wow.
where I played, yeah, so I ended up getting fifth at junior nationals in 17, which I was like blown away. I mean, I went into that show with no expectations, but obviously, just with the idea that like I was going to go see how I stacked up on the national stage and just have fun with it. And I took home fifth, and I was like, oh, wow, like that just happened. And then I was like, well, let's do another one. So I went to USA's, I think it was like, how many weeks? 6 weeks later or something like that. I don't even remember. And I ended up taking home fourth, and I was just like, wow, like this is really cool, And then I kind of fueled the fire for the next year, and then we decided that we were gonna go like make a vacation of every show in 18. So I'm really lucky because my husband has a very flexible work schedule, and like I have a very flexible work schedule. So we were able to go out to these shows in Charleston and Chicago and New Jersey, but we stayed in Manhattan for a few days after, and then in Vegas, and we basically got to like go just explore the city after and just like have fun. And I think that's why the national shows are special to me, because it was like a little vacation every one of them last year.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
And
yeah, he's pretty cool. He's a pretty cool guy.
yeah, it sounds like it. And that is just so cool. And what a coincidence too that you just went back to the place where you guys didn't even realize at the time. And then all of a sudden everything just fell into place. That is just so cool. And sounds like he's been such a supportive person in your life throughout this journey as well. And I meant to ask you and I didn't, but you just brought it up again with the work that you do, right? You have a lot more flexibility in your schedule since starting your business. So I'd love to know what inspired you to become a coach and start your own business and leave your engineering career.
Yeah, so this was a really, really hard decision for me, that I thought about for a very long time. I was actually very resistant to even like the idea of leaving my job as an engineer, just because, like I got into school, I went to school at University of Washington and I studied engineering. It's like, not the
Yeah.
easiest thing in the world. And so then I worked at Intel Corporation for a few years, transitioned to project management. I worked at Coca-Cola, started up like smart water lines, and then I transitioned back to semiconductors, and I was working as a configuration engineer at Lam Research. when I started my coaching business. And I started it on the side, just thinking like I would love to help other girls. So um, I'm sure you've experienced this as well, but like when you start competing, even at the regional level, like people really notice, especially like if you're someone that had like a, quite a bit of a transformation or whatever, like people start asking you like, oh, what are you doing? Like, can you write me a program? Like, can you help me with my diet, this and that? And I thought, well, like, I'd love to help them, but there are like liability issues with that. Like, you definitely want to have like a business set up and you want to have like your certifications in place. So I got my NASM certification. So, just the personal training one, and then the fitness, they have like a fitness nutrition one. And then now I have a women's fitness specialization as well. I'm kind of a nerd, so I just like, can I learn?
I love it.
But yeah, and then I noticed you have a psychology degree, which I think that is so cool.
Thank you.
Because this sport is all psychology, right? Like,
Yeah. Exactly. And
yeah.
yet no one is really addressing it as deeply as we need to be. So I'm like, come on.
No, I think that's amazing because so then that's sort of what I've learned over the years too is like, when you're working with people, it's not so much about telling them what they should be doing to get the results they're looking for. It's like how to actually coach, so that's something that has been so much fun for me because it's really like learning how to work with different personality types and like you're not going to work with everybody well. It's just a fact. Like it's
Yeah,
not
it's
everybody.
true.
So you're definitely going to have people that you work really well with and it's like a great fit. And then there's definitely clients I've had over the years where like I've even recommended working with other people I know to them because I just felt like it might be a better fit. Um, you know,
Mhm.
that's something that I feel like is important. Just, being honest with people is always important.
Yeah, it
But
protects you and them. Everybody's happier.
exactly. So yeah, I had a lot of fun. It was a lot of work getting the business like started and trying to understand like how to I'm very like detail oriented, so like how I was gonna get all the information to everybody and it's just been really, really fun. And I've actually hired someone this year to even help me with my website. So before I had hired someone to do a website for me and they just kind of like left me with it. And
Oh my God.
um, I'm an engineer, but I'm not like, a website designer. So I was like
Yes.
trying to like figure out the coding and like it was a disaster. And so I was spending way too much time on that and it wasn't worth it. So I hired someone local who I meet with now, and he's helping me with creating even like video content for like training and things like that that my clients can get on and access, and just being able to like give them the best, like things that I would like as an athlete. So
Yes.
it's cool being able to see both sides too. Um,
Yeah, especially if you've been coached, which I know you have been by other coaches, and
mhm.
you see like their style or what they offer, and or when you've been coached online and you want to bring something different to the online coaching space, then you get so much more insight and perspective, like you said. And as a coach, like you communicate differently with different people, and I think it's great that you're detail oriented and so focused on that and building such great things and platforms for your girls to benefit from. And I respect that a lot. I love business. I could talk all day. I honestly could talk all day about business, so we should do that sometime. But um I do want to know too, and especially as you're going through your website building, like that will be cool. I look forward to seeing that. But have you noticed a difference in your lifestyle and time management from when you were deep into prep for a pro card, and now that you're in more of an off season focused on like business goals and strength goals and traveling, have you noticed yeah, like different in your day or time management or how you've been feeling around your schedule, things like that?
Oh, 100%. So I mean, being completely honest, like at the end of my prep last year, I was so tired. I mean, I was like
Mhm.
taking naps during the day because I was having so much trouble sleeping at night. I mean, I think my circadian rhythm was like completely off. But I was like hungry. I was kind of irritable at times. I mean, thank God my husband and I were already married.
No escape.
Right. You're stuck with me. Um, yeah, so now it's just so much better, like having more mental clarity. I mean, the brain fog is definitely a real thing when you do get, low carbs and you're not eating as much. It can be a struggle, and I definitely felt like the most challenging part of prep for me last year was that whole thing where it's like you want to do so much and you feel like you only have a limited amount of time during the day where your brain's actually functioning like fully.
Mhm.
So it's definitely been a breath of fresh air, just like taking that time and like being able to have more food and like be able to focus more. And I mean, I don't know, I wonder sometimes like how people can compete like all year and not just feel like they're wasting all their time, like just feeling like brain dead. But I mean, everyone is different is the thing. So what affects me or like where I was at could be totally different than where someone else is at or how things affect them. So but for my sanity, yes, I definitely have needed that time. And I feel like I've been so productive lately, which is a great feeling. I really like that.
Yes, it's an addictive feeling, crossing things off to-do list, knowing you just got things done. And yeah, it's an awesome feeling not falling asleep throughout the day as well. And I can totally relate to that. I get like that deep into prep or after multiple shows. It was just starting to get like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. And then there'd be one day where it was like, I can do anything and everything and fired up. And then the next day is like dragging my feet. So yeah, I've noticed a lot more consistency in my energy since like finding my lifestyle pattern more so and getting clear on what my goals are right now. So I can definitely relate. And I remember you mentioned again in one of your posts that during your prep, your weight didn't change for 12 weeks before you on your pro card. And I think a lot of athletes get caught up in the numbers, and not just athletes, but women in general, men as well. So what mindset do you think you had that helped you through seeing little to no changes or even gaining weight during prep? Like what was keeping you going in terms of the mindset behind that?
Oh, yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up because I definitely hear a lot of the weight stuff from my own clients. And I'm like, hold up, like, let me tell you a story. Um, so, yeah, it was literally 12 weeks and I had not changed weight at all. And the thing that kept me going was that I'd done preps before. I'd done quite a few shows, and I knew that we were going to get there. Like I knew what it took. I knew that I could, and I knew that I was seeing, changes in the mirror. So that's why I think progress pictures are so important because you could definitely see compositional changes for me before I will see any changes on the scale, weight changes. So it took 12 weeks and then the scale just started dropping, which
Wow.
was such a relief. And I was so concerned about not being ready. I'd given myself 20 weeks to be ready for Junior USA's, which was the longest prep I'd done up until then. And I kept asking Shane, my coach, I was like, are we going to be ready? Like, are you sure we're going to be ready? It's like, you have time. Like, if you're building muscle, you're going to be fine. Like, don't stress about the scale at all. Like, we will get you there. And I just kept honestly trusting him. And I
Yeah.
think that's why it's so important to have a coach during a prep, because it would have been so easy to get in my own head and be like, well, I guess I'm not going to be ready. Like, I don't know, I don't know what to do, like this and that. But we got ready. And I mean, I ended up taking second that show. But I was really happy with my physique. It definitely brought, I think, one of my strongest physiques that I had up until that point. So it all came together in the end. And I think you just have to trust, I mean, there are things you can do, like you can, if you're taking things slowly, you can add in more, or you can take, more food away, as long as you've done the work up front, in the improvement season. Like, there are levers you can pull to try to, get the scale to move. It doesn't matter really what the scale says, it matters what you look like. But like, you can get there, you know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah.
shouldn't stress as long as you've hired someone who knows how to get you there.
Absolutely. I love that. And I'm a huge advocate for hiring coaches too. I know some friends who prep themselves, and kudos to them, because like what you said, I love knowing that I can go to someone and just trust what they're saying, because if I'm not seeing something that they are, I know that I'll be taken care of, versus what you said. It's like we can get in our own heads and talk ourselves into and out of a lot of crazy things. So
Yeah, especially prep.
yeah, exactly. Like, imagine if you were just like doing that on your own and just threw in the towel. Like, we may not be having this conversation right now, but maybe it would have been like a lot longer, That's just crazy.
Totally. Yeah, and I think there's something to learn from everybody. I mean, even if it's what not to do, you can you can
Yeah.
always learn stuff from people. So I think it's cool to have someone to be able to bounce ideas off of them, and like, as long as there's good communication and you trust them, I think that's key.
Yeah, I would agree for sure. And something that you have mentioned also is that you don't wait around for the perfect conditions to make changes or to take action. And this is something that I think too many girls who have the desire to compete or are competing but maybe have only done once or twice or just anything in life, right? They think that they have to wait till everything is perfect to step on stage, and then they hold themselves to standards that they can't, like, really they should not be expecting from themselves to meet. That really wouldn't be met for years, years of effort, years of commitment to the sport or the lifestyle. So I mean, I've had friends who will be like, I'm not stepping on stage because my butt doesn't look like this yet. Well, of course not. You've been prepping for like what, 8 weeks? You're doing your first show. So, what would you recommend to someone who's resisting getting on stage for the first time because they don't have, the body of a pro or of her, or however they think of it in their mind?
Yeah, so there's a few things I want to say. So I feel like when you're in prep for a show, and I could be alone in this, but I feel like I never feel ready, to be completely honest. Like,
Mhm.
it's one of those things where, once you get there, and I've hired someone I trust to get me there, and he says I'm there. But once I get there and I see the stage pictures, I'm like, wow, like we were there. But when you're in it, when you're in it, you don't, you're constantly like thinking, oh, like, am I lean enough? Like, am I gonna come in looking stronger? Because it's really hard to know when you're in it and kind of be able to take that outside, perspective or look in, to see how far you've really come. So I would say hire someone you trust. Be very clear about what, maybe your expectations are, or what you would like to see, and then trust that they'll give you that feedback, honestly, on whether or not you're there. Because there are other shows, like if you really don't feel like you're ready and your coach agrees, you can always do another show.
Mhm.
But I also think, with regards to that it's important, like, even if you don't feel ready, like, you may be ready anyway. So it just depends on what your goals are, right? So I would just make sure you have someone in your corner that you trust and you respect their opinion and they're on board with what your goals are and they won't let you make a fool of yourself. If
Yeah.
if you feel like that's, maybe what the situation would be if you did step on stage. But then again, I think a lot of people don't feel completely ready. I mean, it's, everyone's like nervous going onto stage. I've seen people shake and win the whole show. You know what I mean? So you definitely just have to follow your gut, trust your coach, and just do the best that you can do.
Yeah, I love that insight. I love that advice, and it sounds like trust is a huge deal to you, and I think obviously to a lot of competitors because we're putting something very important to us in the hands of someone else, and of course we're taking the actions they tell us to take, and we're trusting them. But you've also been open to making changes and learning from other people, so you've worked with different coaches. What are some things that you feel you've learned that have been most beneficial for you?
So definitely learning that there are all different types of coaching styles. So I'm the kind of person that I love to be collaborative with my coach. So I think I know what I want or how I want to handle something. And when I worked with Shane last year, I think it went so well because I basically tell him what it was I thought we should do. And he would be like, I think that's great. Like,
Nice.
let's do it, and he wasn't like, no, you're doing this, which I've had coaches that were like, don't ask me questions. Like, obviously it's not working with them anymore, but
Yeah.
But then there's on the flip side, to kind of like defend those coaches, there are clients that like that. There
Yes,
are
there
clients
are.
that really like the just give it to me, don't tell me why, I want a meal plan, like, and I even think like Shane, if you told him that's what you wanted, like he would probably give that to you. And that's also what I try to do with like my girls is like understand very clearly up front, like what are your expectations? What would be a successful prep for you? Where do you see yourself? Those kinds of things to really understand like how to be the best coach for them. And just understanding that like one size doesn't fit all, everybody's different with what they need. And I mean, I think I've found something that I really like, is someone who holds me accountable, but also listens to me, is communicative, like really respects my opinion and just wants the best for me.
That's awesome. And so, in competing as a whole, what are some things that competing has taught you or maybe brought to your life that apply to other areas of your life?
Discipline, for sure. I mean, just, hitting those workouts every single day and the diet, whether or not you're motivated. That's, really, really a big one, I'd say. And just, I think too, setting goals. When I started competing, I didn't even know, I mean, it's back in 2015. I had no idea what a pro card even was.
Yeah,
I mean, I
me either. None
oh,
of us. Yeah.
right. I didn't know the difference between the MPC and the IFBB or any of that stuff, and I didn't even understand how the call outs work. I mean, I
Yeah.
probably could have done like a little bit more research, but I really didn't understand. And this was back to a time where it like the blinged out bikinis were just becoming like a thing.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I want to say like probably 3 years before I even started competing, like the division was very new. When did it come out? It was like 2010
Mm,
or 11. I don't even know. I
I
was
don't
still in
know.
college. but But yeah, and so it's I think just like getting into it and like realizing what it could be, and then just taking my time with like progressing through, building more and more muscle every year and being able to get leaner and leaner every year and just having fun with it, and then setting goals to, go pro. And even like, I think about it too, because at the end of last year, when I was at my fourth national show, I kind of changed the goal on myself. I was like, I don't even know if the goal is to get my pro card anymore. I feel like the goal is to just be the best that I can be, because I can't really control whether or not I get the pro card. Like, I can show up as the best, the best possible version of Kerrin that I can be, but, for the sport criteria, but I can't, you know, make the judges necessarily pick me if that's not what they're looking for.
Mm.
So I think my goal kind of even shifted, but like through that time, I had, goals along the way and whatever that got me to where I am now. And sometimes I look back and I'm like, wow, what a journey. And just, if you can apply that to just anything in your life that you want, where you're just, making progress and enjoying that journey and setting goals along the way. And, it can lead to some pretty freaking amazing things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It totally can. And that's such a beautiful, testament to just the sport, and also to what you've taken from it and how it can apply to so many areas of our life anyways. Like, if you can apply that enjoyment of the journey, even when it's really, really hard, because life has some really, really hard points. If you can enjoy it anyways, that's pretty awesome and a great thing to take away. And I remember in 2015, that's when I did my first show too, and I didn't know anything. I remember emailing my coach like, "Oh, I was looking at these things," and she's like, "Yeah, so you'll want to look into like NPC shows." And I was looking at like random ass like I don't even know what they were. Like, I don't even know. Probably had to wear a
Oh,
costume or something. It wasn't WBF.
probably like WBS. Yeah.
Yeah, it was something like that. It was just, I don't even know, some like productions, but it's like it's not part of the NPC. I didn't know the difference between. I didn't even know there was a difference. I didn't know what the Olympia was. I thought Arnold was
Right.
just a person. Like, I didn't know it was also, you know what I mean? Like,
No,
it's just
I know.
crazy when you like get further and further into the sport, or you develop a passion for it or an interest in it. Like, there's so many intricacies to it. And that's why I love like this show too, because I'll learn something new from everybody as well. And I loved hearing everything you had to share today too. And I always like to end by getting your advice for someone who's thinking about competing but hasn't yet, and then also advice for someone who is going after their pro card.
Well, if you're thinking about competing and you haven't done it yet, I would say just talk to a coach and sign up. Because it's one of those things where, like you were talking about before, you don't have to look like a pro before you step on stage for the first time. But you just want to be clear about, your why you're doing it. And then, just might as well. You only have one life to live, right? So
Mhm.
definitely give it a shot. And that, I actually started out just thinking I was only going to do one show.
Wow.
No,
Here you are.
yeah, no, thinking, I know. So, yeah, just give it a shot. You never know. You might like it, you might hate it, but you'll never know until you try. And then for someone who's going after their pro card, oh, good luck. I would say, just
Good luck.
yeah.
That is so funny.
um, just stay persistent, stay consistent. Don't forget that it's not about the pro card. I know that sounds cliche, but it's like a pro card isn't gonna change your whole life. Like it's not gonna all of a sudden like make you money or like make people like you or I don't know, whatever. It's just literally a card that they send you in the mail, and the ability to compete at the next level. So just stay true to yourself, work hard, and it will happen when it's meant to happen. And, I think you'll just learn a ton along the way and enjoy the journey, because, the journey is the destination. Like I said, the pro card, while you might think it's the destination, it's really like all the people you meet along the way, all the adventures you have, all the things you learn, as you're training and you're dieting and you're just living the lifestyle. So, yeah.
I love that. And you've come, away with so many awesome memories and people, your husband, and yeah, just experiences too. So I think that's so awesome. And I really appreciate you sharing all of those stories with us, opening up too about them and giving us some insight into what you're doing in your off season as well and how you've shifted your mindset or how it's shifted your life and impacted your life so much too. So I would love everybody to be able to thank you or maybe ask you questions, reach out for help or coaching or support or whatever it might be to get in contact with you. Where can they connect with you?
So I have a website. It is www.kerrinmichelle.com, and my name is spelled Kerrin, and Michelle is Michele. So just one L.
Same with me, girl. We got same middle name. I don't know if you remember that conversation.
Oh, that's how you like introduced yourself to me, I think, right?
Yeah, Michelle with one
like,
L.
Hey.
We got the same middle name. Come on my podcast.
What do you know? Awesome.
And then I'll put your Instagram in the show notes as well.
Perfect.
Cool. So to everybody,
it's just at Kerrin Michelle. Super easy.
Super easy.
If you spell it correctly.
You don't know what you'll find otherwise. So you really never know. So everybody listening, thank you guys so much. Please visit the show notes page to review all the show notes and, of course, to find those links to connect with Kerrin. And if you haven't yet registered or expressed interest in the Bikini Mastermind event happening towards the end of the year, now is the time to do that. I'm already, probably by the time you hear this, sending out the information on the seat reservations and all the information. So it's best to get your name on that list now. And of course, let any of your teammates know who you want to come with you. And with all of that being said, I haven't said it on a podcast yet, but I got the birthday wrong of the podcast, and it's pretty funny. It's actually today when we're recording this, so the 15th. This is the official birthday, but of course this episode is going to be released like next month anyways, but I just wanted to clear that up on the air, and I appreciate everybody for celebrating, having so much fun, and I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, night, or morning, wherever you are in the world while you're listening to this podcast. Just like